All right, Josh. So we're talking about Freds and those guys. So let's talk about Lance Terry and Jayvon Franklin. Kind of what do they add to your team?
Yeah, Lance Terry and Jayvon Franklin have both been really good additions for us, Kelly. I mean, I think Jayvon's, athletically he's been really good, and Lance Terry's just been really sound, solid, and dependable. And that's where it goes back to Kelly with the recruiting. I mean, you get a guy like Jayvon and Lance Terry who are good players. Lance Terry's 21 years of age. Jayvon's going to be 23. And if you look at our roster, our entire team, technically the following year, other than Jayvon, can come back the next year. And so that's where the recruiting landscape is. Because I think it's a mix, it's a balance of both taking high school and transfers. But that's where you say it, okay, you got to make decisions because you might not have that many open scholarships if everyone comes back, which is a great thing. And because there's just a big difference on that 21-year-old Lance Terry or the 23-year-old Jayvon Franklin compared to an 18-year-old. Because even like Deebo, Coleman, Miles, Kelly, and Jalen Moore, those three guys are so different this year than they were last year. Just a year older being in college, they're just so different and so much better. And that goes back to the component of, I've always said it, getting old and staying old, and then getting to the point of, really having a strategy with that recruiting landscape of trying to stay old through the portal. Not every guy has to be through the portal because it's got to be a sprinkle and a mix, but making sure you have your room to be able to do that in the spring.
With those guys, are they both top end of the rotation type guys?
No, both Jayvon Franklin and Lance Terry will be in the rotation. And, we haven't got down to where our exact rotation is just yet because, look, we haven't played a game. We haven't even scrimmaged anyone other than ourselves. So I think that will sort itself out and work itself out once we start competing against other teams and we kind of see who's doing what at that point. We might have an idea right now, but still too little early to tell.
With Jalen Moore, he's a guy both Rodney and Kyle talked about. They are really impressed with him. Obviously, he has a little bit of that Moses freak kind of athlete to him, inside-outside guy.
I think Jalen Moore will be very similar to Moses Wright when it's all said and done in that same league. Can he become the player of the year? I mean, that's really hard to do, but we're like, man, this guy, where did he come from? Like, how did anyone miss on him in recruiting type of deal? Because he's got a chance to be really good. I'm really excited about Jalen Moore for this season and beyond. He's got a chance to be really special.
Miles and Deebo both kind of stepped up. Deebo ran out of gas, I think, a little bit at the end of last year, but Miles came on late. They're both kind of good scorers. I think maybe they were a little deferential to DeVoe last year. Do you kind of expect them to take that level up now?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Miles and Deebo. I think both guys are going to have fantastic seasons. Yes, we really relied a lot on DeVoe for scoring wise, and it was hard. It was hard for him. It was probably hard for the other guys as well too. But that's where I said for this year we might not have that one guy. We've got to be the star of the team. It's got to be the team, and that's got to be kind of who we are throughout the entire season. But we need guys like the Miles, Kelly, and Deebo Coleman, who I think have made a huge jump from their freshman to their sophomore years to have fantastic years for us.
The guy I get asked a lot about is Tristan Maxwell. Obviously, it's been tough going really since he's been with you guys. Just kind of how's he doing?
Yeah, well, one, not easy to hit 7 threes in the game like he did last year, and that's pretty darn special. He was one of the few guys that have done that, and even in ACC history, not only Georgia Tech, but in ACC overall history. But Tristan's been good. He's had a good spring. He's had a good summer and a good fall. So the key for Tristan, he's got to stay healthy. His body looks really good right now. He can shoot the ball. He knows the game. I'm excited for Tristan. And he's just got to keep taking, as I tell him, one day at a time. And he keeps staying, winning the day. He can really help us.
And with Jordan Mecca was a guy that gave you a little defense and rebounding. Obviously, the offense was an issue because just didn't give you much on that end of the floor. It made it a little harder to play him, I imagine.
Kelly, Jordan Mecca Thursday, Friday, Saturday practices last week, he was excellent. I thought it was his best 3 days. He's gotten a lot better. But those 3 days, he was really, really good. And he just, his rebounding, his shot blocking, just not turning it over, keeping things simple. He can be really, really good for us. And he's gotten a whole ton better. Look. The reality of it is, last year those guys, the Mecca, and Deebo, and Miles, and Jalen, and Tristan, and Rodney, and those guys were thrown in the fire. And I've not to repeat myself, which everyone knows I repeat myself. But losing Bubba really affected us. I don't think we would have gotten the tournament with Bubba, but we would have won 4 to 6 more games. Just having that veteran deal, a guy in there, because we lost a lot of close games, 4 to 6 points. 2 other things I want to say, and then 2 other things. One of them is that, and I know I've said it, I made a mistake on Moses Wright and Jose Alvarado. I was balancing, and because I thought if they came back, we had a real shot at going to the Final Four, a real shot. And unfortunately for us, they left, but they didn't leave till literally June, Jose in early July, and we didn't have, because I was dancing around. Do we take anyone else? Do I give them a deadline? Because I didn't want to push them out because I thought they were both coming back. My assumption is they were going to come back. And then the second thing I want to say about us losing a lot of those close games this past season, or last year, 4 to 6 points, just a lot of those games could have changed our season. We have spent more time than ever before. We've always worked on time and score. We've always. But this year we've times it by 20. Like any situation, like we're doing multiple 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 games within practice of different time and score situations so we can teach it, show the film the next day, and get better at it. Because I do know a lot of these games we're going to come down to in the league are going to come down between 4 and 6 points. We've usually been pretty good at those. Last year we lost a lot of close games. Again, in that balance of this league, it can make or break your season.
Is that where it's hard, where you don't maybe have a go-to guy that's going to be for sure who you go get a bucket with?
Kelly, I think for us, and as kindergartenish as this sounds, like we got to be really good at limiting teams to one shot. And the area where when we're in man, we're really good at that. The issue is teams get offensive rebounds against us in the zone, because we do get our zones really effective, as you know, and the fans know, but we do get spread out in the zone. It does get us spread out, and sometimes it opens up holes. The weak part of the zone is the rebounding opportunities. We've been spending a lot of time on that. We've got to limit our turnovers, like our terrible turnovers. Yes, there's going to be some turnovers in the course of the game, but we turn it over way too much than we need. We just can't be having terrible turnovers. And a third thing, as simple as this sounds, we've got to make free throws. And if those 3 areas of limiting turnovers, making free throws, limiting teams to one shot, that will give us our best chance of success if we don't have that one just initial star. Our star of our team's got to be the team. Now, through time, can guys take that mantle? And yeah, through time, that might happen. But initially, as we start, the star of our team's got to be the team.
With the way that your team's built so guard heavy now and athletic, does that lead to playing more man-to-man and more ball pressure and maybe changing up what you guys do defensively a little bit?
Yeah, I think we want to play, I really like to play faster and have more, we want to get more possessions, but that doesn't mean playing wild and turning it over. But we've been spending a lot of time on trying to play more up-tempo with more speed in that. We got bigs that can move. I think defensively, we might not have the big that's an elite shot blocker like a Ben Lammers or Moses, right, or James Banks, but we got bigs who can really move their feet. So I think there's some things that we could do defensively that could be a little different than we've done in the past. So, everything's kind of on the table. And I will have a better feel once we play our 2 scrimmage games. The schedules come out. In the years past, I've always played 1 scrimmage and then 1 exhibition. This year, I felt what's best for our team is to play 2 scrimmages and then open up with our season that would have been an exhibition, but as a countable game. And so that's kind of how I've looked at it. As we've discussed the year before, we really scheduled for the opportunity. Because I was assuming Alvarado and Moses Wright were coming back, that we were going to schedule for seeding in the tournament. They didn't come back, so we probably overscheduled from going into this last season. This season, I think we have a really good balanced schedule. We still have really good teams. And then regardless, the parity amongst college basketball, everyone's good in this day and age. So you still got to get out there and go play and compete. But I'm excited. It's right around the corner. Obviously, right now, everyone's focus is football, which it should be. And we're rooting Coach Key and them on as hard as possible. Volleyball has been incredible. So, but basketball will be here, and looking forward to our team and how we get after it. And one thing about our group, we'll compete and have a chance to be in every game.
Is there something you guys can do to start faster? I know that's been another thing that, last 2 years in particular.
Yeah, no, that's been a big thing, Kelly. And I think, we've spent a lot of time in the weight room. I think that's been a point of emphasis for us from the last spring, summer, fall to now. Like our whole point A, number one emphasis of everything has been the weight room. Like we've got to be so good in that weight room. And I think our guys look good, the bodies look good. But I think in everything that we're doing, we're trying to be ahead of the curve and making sure that we start out well, to start the season well. And that's something that we've got to be better about.
I had a couple fans tell me that you personally called them to sell season tickets and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that? Just trying to.
Yeah, look, I look at I'm a team player. Like, some fans were maybe kind of on the borderline. Were they going to get tickets or not? I just want to make sure they were going to renew. And I don't think I'm above any job there is in the athletic department. So if my bosses needed me to call someone for ticket sales or needed me to help sweep the floor in the gym, I'll do what I got to do, and because I look at it that I'm not above anything to be had. Yes, I'm the head coach, but I keep things in perspective. I understand my position, and my position is that I want to give Georgia Tech, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket Nation out there the best opportunity for their program, because it's their program, their team, to give us our best chance to compete and win at the highest levels. Yes, I got to make decisions being in my chair, what I think's best, but anyone that understands, hey, where we're at right now, we're at an incredible academic institution. The curriculum and everything else, this is one of the elite academic institutions in America, and we also are competing at the highest level in college athletics, so it's a great time to be part of Georgia Tech.
You've been, self-proclaimed notorious about short bench. It seems like this is a year where you should be 9 or 10 deep.
I do think. Well, yes. I've preferred to play 6 guys, 5 maybe I stretch to 7, but I do think this year we'll get a little deeper than that. I can see that happening, and that's a good thing. And I'm excited about that. We've got more depth, and again, the star of the team's the team.
How do you make the decisions? You guys have guys listed as seniors, but some of them still have COVID years and stuff.
I was just saying that to somebody else that, like, even when we're doing scheduling, and I'm looking, okay, is that guy graduate? Like, just because senior, they might not be real senior. Like, Rodney Howard and Kyle Sturdivant are seniors, but I look at them as their juniors because they still got 2 years of eligibility. Lance Terry's listed as a senior, but he's really a junior. Jordan Mecca is technically, this is his 3rd year, but he's only a sophomore. So it's just until that COVID group, the final group, all the way goes through, then it's sort of pandemonium in a sense and trying to keep up with it all.